thanks for taking your valuable time as always. And you all may be aware that I did reach out personally to you, and more importantly, last week was it or this week for the International Peace Day, right? And maybe I'm hoping that all of you had the opportunity to partake in that and meditate at 9 o'clock. Last year, about 40 million people came together to sit and meditate on that one particular day. And this year, in that half an hour program prior to meditation, it was all about how the Peace Day started, how one person's hope or desire to have peace for the world really made United Nations to have a separate day for peace. And if you had joined that session, Jeremy Gilly, who is responsible or to whom this is dedicated, it was a wonderful story. And how his intention was to connect people. And I think one of the things that when I was hearing, it touched me was we all have more common things than differences. But, it's the differences that differentiate us, But if we really go back to that particular common element, then there is much, much more that we can achieve. And in that particular commonness, that what came to my attention is our all possess the same qualities, the same trueness as well, and the same connections that we can all establish. So with that intention, I thought, we can start a little series of heartful communications and the role of heart in communication as well, and how communication has a role in our evolution itself. So let me very quickly share, some of my presentation or my mentee, and then, we can interact a bit and then go for our, as usual, a practical session. So give me a moment and let me know if you are able to see my screen. You can see it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Just something to reflect on, the founding father of heartfulness. Make sure that your acts and your words reflect work being done in your heart. If you can take a moment to just read that and absorb it. Make sure that your acts and the words reflect the work being done in your heart. And what we'll then do is we'll all, before we start the session, we will all sit with our eyes closed, connect to our heart, and feel this connection getting extended to each one of us. That our hearts are intertwined in this higher consciousness of the universe. So we will establish the connection with our heart. We'll bring our attention to our center, the center within us being our heart, and that infinite capacity of the heart to connect to everything around it. So we will connect to everyone on this call. Then we will gently open our eyes. And having made that connection within ourselves, we will then just try and explore, how do we connect to people around us? How effectively can we communicate and connect? So
Brother Hari, your voice is...
able to hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
but sometimes it's soft.
I will try to be a little louder.
Now is very good. Yeah.
So if you can use the Menti, 93239396 is the code, as you can see on the screen there. So yeah, there you can see 9396 9323 menti.com. And when you are able to make your way, let's explore, what does communication mean to you? What does it mean to us? Connecting and evolving. It's a very nice thought there. Those of you who are still making your way, menti.com, 93239396 is the code. Relating to one another. Conveying. Getting the message heard. Okay. Messaging. It's a bridge. Okay. Fantastic. Learning new things. Trying to open up to hearts. I think you all have an option to respond multiple times. So if you got more thoughts, feel free to do so. Creative. What does communication mean to you? Very nice. Reduce the gap. That's a very good thought. So first, when you say that there is reduce the gap, it brings an idea that there is a gap in the first place, right? And how wide or how small the gap is something that someone said, a bridge, right? Communication can help to bridge that gap. Very nice thought. I'm just trying to see if I missed anything else. Conveying, it's a network. Fabulous. Okay, we'll give another 10 more seconds and see if there is any final thoughts on this. So lots of very nice thoughts over here. Getting the message heard, a bridge to reduce the gap, something that helps us to open the hearts up. And I think someone said relating. Was it? I saw the word, and I'm not sure relating as I'm thinking through whether it is relating to one another or relating to the entire universe. We'll explore that. And lots of messaging and creativity as well. Okay, let's move to the next very quick one. What do you think, in your opinion, influences communication? What are all the things that could influence communication? Attitude, definitely. Assumptions, which we almost always do. Knowledge, yeah. Having knowledge can influence communication both in a positive and negative way. Having a knowledge can bring a bias too, and having a knowledge can help in communication as well. Personal behavior, comfort level with other. Fabulous. A good heart. Thought process, our thoughts can influence communication, definitely. Our energy level, that's a very nice thought too. Each time I do these sessions, I see there are so many different thoughts and enriching sharing from people which I have not come across. Each session brings some surprise. State of mind, I was actually looking for that. So wonderful. thoughts, our state of mind, our attitude, our biases, our knowledge, lot, less, none, all of them have got an influencing factor. And definitely, I think communications helps to establish that comfort level. And if that comfort level is good, I think, our communications are generally easier, but that does not mean that sometimes having a comfort level can also have a disadvantage, right? We might take the person for granted. We bring our biases into play. How has the pandemic changed your communication? I know there is a whole different paradigm shift that has happened with this communication, especially in this virtual world. And now again, I think since yesterday or day before, we all know that there is a kind of lockdown in Singapore. Home-based learning is back in vogue. Okay, I like the point when you said it is more empathetic. I'm very happy to hear that it is more empathetic for you, but is it really as empathetic as required? More conscious, okay, more mindful. Not sure what you really meant. Mindful of what? I'm sure many things we need to take into consideration in this present challenging communication scenario that we all have. What has been the impact of this pandemic from a communication perspective? Less assuming, okay? I can understand that we need to think a little bit hard for this question. It has increased the distance. There has been a gap. Someone said reduce the gap. There needs to be more heart-to-heart talks, and if that is happening, it is fantastic. More conscious, increased distance, need for a heart-to-heart communication. I think in the last couple of questions, we had more people responding. So take your time if you need. It's a very important one to baseline ourselves what has happened to our communication. Makes us more thoughtful, definitely. Let's give another 10-15 more seconds and then we will move on. It has become restrictive. The frequency of communication has increased. We are more on Zoom calls, more on team calls, more on Google Meet, right? The frequency of communication, but what is important to also analyze is the quality of that communication. Wonderful. So I think someone mentioned the point, right? What influences communication. I just thought to summarize this. I think this picture says it all, right? Someone said that what is communication for you? To be heard, right? And in that comes a very, I was hoping that some of you would pick up. Sorry, I just wanted to, yeah. I was hoping that some of you would pick up something related to what has influenced the communication. Sorry, I was just trying to come to your mentee answers. Someone would pick up listening and whether we have really been enough attentive to the other person's needs. And someone said empathetic. Yeah, that's where it is. So with empathy comes a lot of listening. All about connecting. So the theme today I wanted to really talk about was about listening and the patience that is required for us to connect from our heart to other heart. And most of the time, We generally communicate, but is it exactly as what the other person wanted to hear? Have we been empathetic enough? Have we really understood what is the requirement of the other people? I think many of you said more thoughtful, more understanding, less assuming, right? But if you really look at for all of those, if we have to be understanding of others, thoughtful of others, then I think first and most important, what we need to be doing is listening. But in this pandemic world, we are on more calls, we have got more messages coming on Facebooks, Twitter, WhatsApps. We are more on a responding spree most occasions, and that quality could improve if we listen patiently, right? And can anyone think of what comes in the way of our listening? Sorry?
My ego.
Yeah, okay. Your ego.
External distractions.
External distractions.
I mean, my point has to be, I mean, before listening, I want to say my point has to be right, or my point.
That's true.
Yeah,
absolutely. I took it in that sense. Yes, we want to put our viewpoint before we even heard the other person.
Or we already had a prejudice about what the other person is going to talk, and we stick to our opinion instead of listening.
Even before the person has completed his conversation or communication,
Yeah.
we jump in assuming we know what exactly the person wants to say.
Yeah.
So someone previously said what can influence the communication knowledge. Having prior knowledge sometimes can be detrimental.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be helpful too. What else do you think can come in the way of our listening effectively?
It also, sorry, anyone?
Our own thought process. Yeah, I thought I
What
would
about?
say our own thought process to may interact, to listen properly.
Yes, our own clutter in the mind, right? The constant chat of the thoughts that is happening in our mind. Is that what you are planning to say, intending to say, Sudeep?
Yeah, correct. Hari.
It could be the other person is not able to conveniently put his whatever the message you want to.
Clarity of thought from the other person, right?
Yeah.
Not able to communicate what he intends to communicate.
Correct, yeah.
Lack of patience.
Lack of patience, definitely. And what is that trait of lack of patience?
Sorry, the trait, is it? Maybe putting yourself first before giving an chance for others.
Yeah, what I was trying to get to was that patience is an emotion, right? Being patient enough, having calmness. So all our emotional conditioning can come in the way of our response, and more importantly, in the way of our listening. Interrupting when someone is speaking, not listening to what the other person is saying. So all that thoughts, what is present, which is where it is coming from, all our subconscious mind, which is influencing our clouding, that clarity that you mentioned, Ramesh, unable to say what you intend to say, all those comes from the emotional baggage that we really carry, right? Just in the interest of time, I'm going to very quickly move on. So what we should be able to do is remain grounded. If we are centered on the heart, then there is a significant potential for us to be balanced. And when the heart and mind is in sync, there is clarity, there is discrimination, there is discernment that happens. And then the heartfulness cleaning technique helps in removing all the biases, all the judgments, all the likes and dislikes. So when you are able to remove that emotional baggage and the conditioning of the mind, then you are now able to be in that poised state, in that silent space within your heart. And if you're in that silent space within your heart, then what actually happens in a communication? If we are rooted in that stillness, balance, and silence, then what do you think would happen in a communication? No right or wrong answer. You can try. Something on the chat window. So let me see. Factual based. Okay, that's a very nice one. You are now fact based. You are not bringing the emotion into the picture. You can use the chat window as well to respond. Thanks, Jenny, for that response as well. So it is more factual rather than having an emotional thing to it. What else could happen? It becomes constructive as well. That's very nice. It is, you are now not trying to prove a point. It is more constructive nature. And anyone else would want to give it a go? Take a moment, no issues. When we rest in that infinite calmness and silence in the heart, we are able to bridge that gap and come closer. And then what happens, Jenny? If all these things happened and you're, let's say, communicating with the other person, it's only two people, one you and the other person whom you are communicating with. It's fact-based, it is constructive, it is not emotionally charged in any way, and you said it has brought the hearts closer.
Yeah, the communication becomes more open-hearted.
Yeah, communication is more open-hearted.
The expression matter will be like they can communicate freely without any prejudice or some bias.
Yeah, there is happiness, there is no bias, but what then actually are you able to do with the other person? What does
Connection.
this help to achieve in that communication?
Connection and empathize. I mean, we connect to the other person, we feel as one, and also
so when you connect and when you are able to be empathetic, what happens? What is the outcome?
there will be a transmission. I mean, there will be communication will be happening. I mean, there will be all. I mean, what happens? Yeah.
I think we are all getting there. Veera says flow of information, but then what information will flow on what basis? Yes, I was really looking for the word understanding. And that's when the understanding happens. And to expand on that, Sudhir, what do you actually understand? when everything is
Sorry,
what?
I was
Yeah.
on mute. When there is happiness, when we try to understand the other person, it becomes easier. So both are empathetic. There is an understanding. So there is peace.
Understanding is, you said, when there is understanding of what? Having peace, cheerfulness, all those things are the byproducts of it. But what do you understand when you say that I understand Harrier? What do you understand in that response?
I understand Hariha's personality, the person, what he is trying to say.
It's a message.
What I am trying to say, what happens at a deeper level? When I say I have understood you.
Feelings, we understand the feelings of other.
We try to understand, we are understanding the needs of the other person. So when we understand the needs of the person, then there is a connection established between heart to heart. Most occasions, we are not able to understand the deeper needs of the person. When someone is angry with us that we have not responded back, with that, let's say, information that was requested of us 2 days back, and when he calls us, he or she calls us, and we find that the tone is a little bit angry, what actually was the need of the person? Or what could be the need of that person? The underlying need of that person could be that that person needed that information, because without that information, that person was not able to meet his or her deadline, which would have put that person into a significant amount of humiliation, or whatever that expectations that person had to respond, show. It might have been an important presentation for that person, which he or she was looking to impress upon or get that point across. And our information was critical for it. So the anger stems from an unfulfilled need. So when we are able to still ourselves, listen to the heart, when the hearts are communicating to each other, we are able to establish an understanding. Then there is a resonance. And in understanding, there is peace, there is harmony, there is communication. So if we take that effort if we really take the effort to understand the other person, then we need to listen. We need to pause. We need to remove the emotional clutter. We need to remove all those of our expectations that is coming there. And so I hope, in fact, it helps to put a context there in the heartfulness meditation technique, helps us to maintain that poise. The cleaning techniques helps us to remove all the clutter that is present there, bring all the clarity. And instead of quickly jumping, responding, judging the other person, we are now able to slowly make the connection with the heart. So we are able to understand the needs of the person or needs of the situation there as well. And we all know that in the recent pandemic, there were so many cases where many organizations had to let people go. And empathy is a very, very important trait that develops when we practice meditation. And we understand the needs and feelings of others. And that the famous example of Brian Chesky, the CEO, who laid off people, but then he was an example of how Airbnb let people go. He did not make even one person feel that they were made redundant. He had a call with every individual to make them feel that they were respected enough and they were not losing the job because of their capabilities, but it was because of the market impact. And then there was a full infrastructure that was put in place in a very heartful manner so that every individual was taken care of, or an effort made to find an alternative job for that person. So when you, even in leadership, when we are talking of this, if we are able to understand the bigger picture, we are empathetic, we are clear, we are not emotional, we are not judgmental, unable to bring our biases, and we are able to make that connections easier, smoother, and more importantly, natural. Because then you are able to make that connection in the moment without any influences. So with that, I'm going to take a pause here. I'm just a little conscious of the fact that it's already 11:05. And, if there are any final thoughts from anybody, feel free. If not, we will practice this technique of pausing ourselves, relaxing when connecting to our heart.
Brother, I have one doubt. Maybe one. I actually, if the other person showing angry or venting angry because of not a direct need, it's some other problem, but he is, because suppose I am his subordinate, then he choose me as a medium to vent his anger. Then
Yes, I think the important thing is to go back and try and see why, right? And if we center ourselves, pause ourselves, connect to our heart, and come from that absolute zero position and make that connection and ask the right questions. Like when a child when we put food on the table and the child says, I don't want to eat, we try to make them eat. But do we understand the need at that moment for that person? Is he or she really hungry? What is that particular food doing to that person? What is the state of mind of that person when he says yes or no, for example, right? Sometimes we want to get the kitchen work completed on time. So we may say, hey, please have this food, right? So what exactly is the need at that point for that person? It is important to understand those reasons and ask the questions around it, and then try to get to the bottom and then arrive at a common ground to make that connection. So unless and until we will be able to understand the underlying needs, of that person, and of course it is coming from a conditioned mind, then we will not be able to establish that pure connection that we intend to make. And then in the other picture that we saw, is it the communication intended reach the other person exactly as I would have liked the person to hear, right? So communication is only complete if that connection is made. Thanks, Ravi, for that question. And I think, maybe it is time to center ourselves, connect to our heart, and go into meditation for the next 15-20 minutes. Is that okay? So we will sit with our eyes very gently closed. But before that, is it anybody who is joined for the first time? Even if you're joined for the first time, I think, you should be able to be still with us.
Okay.
Sorry. Is there anyone joining first time?
Yes, this is Fanindra. Yeah, this is a first session for me.
Fabulous. Thanks for joining. We are hoping that you will join more often. So Heartfulness is all about silent meditation. As the name suggests, Heartfulness is all about meditating on the heart. So first we are going to sit and relax a few minutes, and then we will gently slip into meditation where we will meditate on the heart. So you only have to follow the simple instructions. what I will be passing on, and we will meditate together for about 20 minutes. So sitting with our eyes very gently closed and sitting as comfortable as we can. We will take 1 or 2 deep breaths. And gently exhale out. Exhale a little longer than we inhale, which will help to still our mind. And we'll gently move our attention to our feet, to our toes. Give it a little wiggle. And then we will feel this abundant, natural healing energy present in Mother Earth. It's gently moving up our toes, all across our feet, our ankles, lower leg, calf muscles, and our knees. And as this energy is gently flowing through all of them, all the stress and anxiety are completely dropping away. Making all of them completely relaxed. So relaxed that you don't even feel the presence of your lower leg now. And as this energy is flowing upwards through our thighs, our waist, and our hips, all the tightness are completely disappearing. Our upper leg is completely relaxed. From hips below to the tip of our toes. Our entire legs are completely relaxed, so much so that you don't even feel their presence. This energy is making its way through the abdomen, stomach area, complete chest area, lower back, upper back. All of them are getting completely relaxed. All the anxiety and the stress there are getting completely dissolved. You don't even feel their presence now. This energy makes its way through our arms, upper arm, our elbows, lower arm, all the way through to the tip of our fingers. As it flows, both our arms are completely relaxed. This energy flows through our shoulders now, and all the heaviness, all the stress and anxiety that is deeply buried in our shoulders. This energy is melting all of them. And as they are all leaving, our shoulders feel light and relaxed. We don't even feel the presence of the shoulders. They are so light and relaxed. This energy starts to flow through our neck muscles, our jaws, our lips, our ears, our chin, making all of them relaxed. All the tightness in our facial muscles getting looser, relaxing all the facial muscles. Our nose is getting relaxed. Our eyes, which are very softly closed, are getting relaxed. Our eyebrows, forehead, and all the way to the top of our head are all getting relaxed by this healing energy. From the top of our head to the tip of our toes, our entire system is completely relaxed now. And in that relaxed feeling and the stillness within, we are able to feel our center. Our center being our heart, in which the infinite source resides. We will gently move our attention to our heart. For the next 10 minutes, we will meditate on this source of light in our heart that is already present there. We will not give any form or characteristics to this light, but we will just feel its presence in our heart and meditate on it. But for any reason, thoughts come to divert our attention, we will treat them as uninvited guests, gently ignore them, return back to our heart, continue to meditate on this source of light in our heart till you hear, "That's all from me." Please start meditation. That's all. We will sit with our eyes very gently closed for another 10-20 seconds. Feel the condition of our heart after meditation. Whatever is the changes there, we will fully assimilate it, absorb it into every particle of ours. Once we absorb this new condition that the heart has unfolded for us, we will be able to operate from that dimension of the heart in all our thoughts and actions. And to be able to do that, our inner and the outer has to match. So we will gently open our eyes when we are ready in such a manner that the inner condition is slowly permeating into the outside. We have slightly exceeded time today. My sincere apologies for that. But if there are any final thoughts or anyone wants to share, say, ask. I will stay back for 5 more minutes. Thanks for your wonderful company and taking time out to join these sessions on Saturday.
Thank you, Hariji.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Have a very good weekend.
Thank you, Hariji.
Thanks, Mahendraji.
It was a very good session today.
Very nice. Thank you.
Is it the link same for all the weeks?
Yes, correct. The link is same.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
How was it for you, Mr. Vaishnavi, right? Is it? Yeah, I'm getting your name correct?
Yeah, actually, that is my daughter's name. Yeah, my name is Panindra. Yeah.
Since you joined first time, how was the feeling for you?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it was somewhere it went to the deeper sleep, but it was the relaxation is good. Yeah.
You were well rested in the silence rather than the sleep.
Yeah, maybe I need to do more practice.
It's all fine. We can all do baby steps, and whenever we feel we have got a few minutes, we just connect to our heart.
I think funny, it's not just you. We are also for the first time, right? For the first, second times, we do fell asleep actually during the meditation.
Yeah.
I think it comes to practice, I guess.
Correct. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Once again, heartfelt thanks. Sorry for extending a little bit, few more minutes, but it's really wonderful to interact and get some points across as well. So we will see you next week. And as always, I have my little friend who always joins me. Lily, Adya, thank you so much, dear.
And I close my eyes.
Did you close your eyes?
No.
I think you need to come and join our relaxation session as well, Adya. Maybe next week.
Next week, okay? Okay.
Next week, you finish your breakfast early and then join, and then we will do a relaxation first. And you can bring your friends as well as your brother as well, and we will do it. Okay? Take care, everybody.
Okay,
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stay safe, even more important. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, Uncle.
Bye, dear. Bye.